here, they aren't nearly as intense. But have you noticed, I'm sure you have, guys, that about that last 30 seconds, they take a page out of old Sugar Ray's book, try to steal around for one another, don't they?
One of the things that has happened is that now Castillo is fighting backwards. He's trying to counterpunch, and that's pretty much his game plan now after the second round.
This is round 4, scheduled for 10.
Well, I think they feel the same thing over in his corner. Why engage in exchanges with the guy?
Yep.
And that way you're leaving him open his only chance, really. The way that he's fighting right now, Wong has no chance. Out in the middle of the ring, long range. Castillo's a rangy fighter.
Castillo comes into the fight tonight ranked number 3 by the IBF and number 3 by the WHO.
Is that an other organization?
Yes.
Okay.
WBO, excuse me. I used to work at a radio station, WHO. I thought it could be or a TV station. We're
could
coming
very
to the
well
end.
be a new organization.
Number 4, we'll be back. Up they come for round number 5. So far, Martin seems to have the upper hand, and some consternation over in the corner with Wong between rounds of Fernando.
Apparently he hurt his nose somewhere along the last round. They asked him, does your nose hurt? He said, yes. So you got to move more so you don't get hit with the uppercuts.
And they were telling him, get busier and move more, but...
well, he does need to get busier. I mean, and that's good advice, but he needs some advice on how to get inside and how to get close to Castillo to get busy.
This fight, this telecast in Spanish comes your way on KCAL's SAP channel on KTNQ 1020 in radio. And the commentators are Carlos Avilas and Miguel Sobreros. We'll call all the action from ringside right here at the Arrowhead Pond.
Watch the head.
2 of our old friends and 2 very accomplished commentators and announcers. Castillo in the white, Wong in the blue trimmed in white, and Castillo seems to have picked it up a notch and seems to have a look about him, Rich, and Fernando's being totally in charge.
Now he's going forward. Now he's attacking.
And Martin does have some pop in his punches. You know, early in his career, Tom, I mentioned that we did 2 of his first 3 fights, and all 3 of his fights went the distance. And look, I was wondering, does he have any power, you know? But he's the kind of a guy, I think, who still was utilizing his amateur style as he turned pro. And now as he goes along in the professional ranks, he's learned technically how to throw punches that are more powerful, how to make them accumulate to the point where he can get a knockout. And he's been able to do that on many more occasions than he was early in his career.
Wong counters with a couple of pretty good shots to the body. Castillo doesn't seem to be too affected by it. Castillo was really heartbroken, as was his man Frank Espinoza when they lost that thing to Machado on a cut above the in the hair on the top of his head. They said it was too bad they had to stop it, yet the blood was flowing down the side of his head and really did not affect. In fact, he didn't even have to have any stitches taken.
No. One of those mysteries in boxing.
Well, yes, and don't they come up so often as they also did for Diaz in that title elimination fight against Manfredi.
I was very surprised at the scoring mill in that Castillo-Machado fight. Truly was.
I think everybody that saw it thought that Castillo had won it, and in kind of convincing fashion, or should have been given the decision for the win.
One of the things that we'll see in both cases of both of these fighters, they very seldom go into the late rounds. If you look at their records, most of their fights end before 3 rounds.
We're in round number 5, seconds ticking away. Good right hand by Wong, and Castillo counters with a left. As this round comes to a close, Castillo seems to be on top of his game as we follow him back to his corner. Remember, we've got Julio Diaz and Felix St. Kitts coming up a bit later in this lightweight contest. Diaz, as we chronicled for you, was on his way to a multi-million-dollar championship fight. It ended in despair when he was beaten by Manfredi, though most people thought he had won that fight. Everybody but the judges at ringside. And the guy that he's fighting is he's from Puerto Rico, but he lives in the Bronx. He's a tough customer, and he's a professional fighter who is anxious for this fight tonight, and he took it on 3 days' notice. But of course, most fighters who are fighters are in the gym, running, working, training, whether they're actually have a fight going or not. So that's coming up, our main event, in just a bit. In the meantime, it is Castillo and Wong as we head for round number 6. It's scheduled for 10. Are you surprised it's gone this far, guys?
Well, not really. Wong, I suspected, is a guy who has come here with a plan, is finding it a little difficult to carry out. But, you know, he's trying to bring the fight to Castillo. And Castillo, I wouldn't be surprised if Castillo was able to stop him later on in the fight, but I did not figure he'd be able to do it this early.
But, Fernando, I got the impression from you that Castillo should have put this guy away, you think?
No, I think that the biggest difference on this fight is not so much even talent. I think it's just size right now.
I see. Castillo, the taller of the two by 3 inches, and with that, a 3-inch reach advantage. He's in the white trimmed in gold, and Wong in the blue and white. Wong counters after Castillo landed a couple of nice solid shots. This is with the left and lands a pretty good right and leads with the right. Wong inside. That's the best place for him to be, strangely enough. He can't get to Castillo at long range. He's more than a capable fighter once he gets inside. He's smaller by 3 inches. At 5'2.5", and they're both in the super flyweight or bantamweight division at 117.5.
Castillo could win an easy decision just pecking and poking, but, you know, honestly, I think he kind of gets bored in there if he does that, and he wants to fight a little.
Yeah.
You know, and he wants to exchange.
Pecking and poking, huh? I kind of like that.
I wrote it down before the show tonight.
Did you really?
Another one of your athletes. You put it down early.
Martin Castillo and Kiri Wong. K-E-Y-R-I. Max Castillo into the corner above us. Third man in the ring. Cantu has not had much to do. Jerry Cantu.
Very clean fighters.
Yes.
You can tell that they're very well poised, well disciplined.
Pecking and poking maybe, but no clutching and grabbing and rustling about. Martin Castillo picked it up just a step there, stepped in, threw a nice left right. Wong comes back with some shots to the body.
Martin Castillo was such a good amateur, by the way, that along the way in the amateur ranks, Tom, he defeated the likes of 2 current world champions in boxing, Eric Morrell and Floyd Mayweather Jr.
Round 6 is coming to a close. This is settled into kind of a routine battle. It started out like both guys were double parked, but it has quietly settled down now with Castillo having the best of it. We'll be back in a moment. We bring you out now as the fighters come out for round number 7, scheduled for 10. We're Fight Night on KCAL at the pond in Anaheim, the Arrowhead Pond. They were talking to Wong in the corner, and Fernando, you were listening in, and they want him to get busy and counter punch. And
They just wanted to see more action from him and use the right a little bit more. And he just pretty much has slowed down. And that's why they want him to be more active.
He should just turn himself into a smaller fighter, get down low and try to mix it up. And I would say get close to Castillo and just try to throw Castillo out of his rhythm. Throw him off balance, turn it into more of a war. Get a brawl going. That's what Wong needs.
And throw that right hand is what they told him to do. You can see that Rich Murata's scorecard has Castillo pitching a shutout here, winning all of the 6 previous rounds. And Fernando, he's on the same page. Hard to argue against him. I thought Wong might have won the first round, and as we mentioned, a couple of the early rounds, why Wong was maybe just a punch or two away from either winning them or at least getting an even break in it. But Castillo's pretty much dominated this fight.
If there's any consolation, Wong is winning this round.
And that cut has opened up again over the side of the left eye of Castillo, and it's bleeding. It's bleeding pretty good down the side of his face.
That came all the way back, I believe, in the second round, was it not? So
yes.
We've gone quite a ways with it here. And now you can see A trickle of blood coming down the side of the face of Martin Castillo.
Boy, Castillo does not let himself get trapped against the ropes. Wong thought he finally had him where he wanted him there, up against the ropes, and Castillo just wheeled on out very nicely.
Now it's really bleeding from the...
Yes, it is. It's flowing pretty good, Fernando. You're right. Wong hasn't come out of this unscathed. He was complaining quite a few rounds ago about his nose, but so far that hasn't been a topic.
See, Wong is getting close. Wong is getting close to him here, Tom. And he threw him up against the ropes that last time, and that's what I'm talking about. He's got to make this thing a brawl.
This is round number 7. It is scheduled for 10. Suddenly, Wong has caught the favorite aspect of the crowd here. They're shouting, Wong, 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 as he presses the action against Castillo. And, of course, Castillo with some blood trickling down on the left side of his face.
I guess one of the things that happen in boxing, that people size with the smaller men.
Well, it is the old underdog syndrome again, Fernando. You're absolutely right. Wong bobbing and weaving, getting nailed, landing some pretty good shots and getting some in return.
Castillo gives Wong a chance.